From Arnold Allen calling Yair Rodriguez a grenade, to Triple C suggesting Volkanovski to prepare a solid game plan for the championship. Here's what the pros had predicted for the upcoming bout between Volkanovski and Rodriguez at UFC 290. Starting off with the almighty Allen. Now, in case you missed it, Arnold appeared in an interview with MMA's Mike Owens and made a prediction about the Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez fight. Right when he was preparing for the biggest fight of his life against Max Holloway in April 2022. Anyway, unbeaten at that time, Arnold accurately laid down Rodriguez's chances of defeating Volkanovski when asked about them. And although he complimented the Mexican fighter calling him a grenade, he did say that he will never be in favor of Yair. There's more to it, because Allen thinks that Rodriguez always has something up his sleeve. Whether you wrestle him or whatever, it's always a gamble. Because you never know when the guy is going to cast a spell. Is it going to be an elbow? Or is it going to be a deathly submission? Like I said, you never know. Arnold added that Yair is too explosive with his elbows.
He's like a grenade, you know, like if you wrestle him, he's got something anyway. You hold on to him, he's like throwing elbows, he's got good submissions, like, you know, he's very explosive with his hips.
And a fight can't stay on the ground for too long. Plus, you've got to talk about his explosive hip power. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Anyway, it's going to be a tough one for Alex because Yair always has a counter for whatever is thrown at him. That's not all, though. Arnold also went on about Volk, saying that one can never go wrong with putting their money on him, and even on the chance one might, Alex will put on a show that's always worth the money. He also said that as much as his knowledge about the fighters goes, Volkanovski will probably outwork Rodriguez, and it won't be any sort of outwork. It will be a total shutdown. I mean, it could literally be a bad elimination, because no matter how humble Alex is, he's hungry, and that's something the Mexican may not be able to take. The fun part is that this was all before Allen had lost to Holloway, so he was making his prediction in such a way that he would get the winner of Volkanovski versus Rodriguez. Let's be honest, it would have been one hell of a fight, but hey, anything happens for a reason, right? Allen was definitely hesitant to fight Yair, but maybe that was because he listened to Sugar Sean's prediction of the upcoming fight. You know, the one where O'Malley is betting against the Aussie? When Sean was asked who his pick was going to be, bantamweight contender O'Malley did not take Rodriguez lightly. I mean, come on, it's down to championship unification. Sugar even took it to his YouTube account and said that he was so done with people thinking Yair is just going to take a beating.
Yair, I've heard a lot of people think Volk's going to run through Yair.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I do agree with Sean. Volk can't just run right through Yair. If you look at it, Sean's only picked Rodriguez because he believes the Mexican style is not just hazardous, but it's also very similar to his own. And if you're familiar with Sugar's approach, you know how hard it is to overpower him. Also, because fans have a habit of confusing skinny with weak, so just like O'Malley, despite having a slim build, Yair definitely packs a punch. And to top things off, the two fighters being skinny is also why they're so hard to control. Other than that, since Yair's also pretty agile with the kicks, it's also one of the reasons Sean has picked the underdog to prevail on July 8, 2023. O'Malley added that even though Alex is one of the best fighters in the world, his loss against Islam definitely changed many people's perspectives. But not too many, I'd say, because the fighters and analysts both have different picks this time. I mean, can Yair actually pull it off against the second-ranked pound for pound? Cause look, UFC 284 was one of the most exciting UFC lightweight events. It had a big impact on Volk's career, and even though he lost, he still retained his top pound-for-pound spot, proving how good he was. And now that it's about the featherweight title, fans have one question. Does Yair have what it takes to defeat the 145-pound GOAT? And as I mentioned, some famous analysts like Brett Okamoto and Jeff Wagenheim may just have the answer. Because according to Okamoto, Volko was the center of attention the last time he fought. And yeah, although Makhachev proved what Russian domination looks like, there's a reason why the rankings didn't change. In the end, that's where it all narrows down to. Makhachev did not win that battle by wrestling. Why? Because Alex didn't let him, and it is now a fight that will go down in history books. Even Mark Raimondi pitched in and said that Volkanovski was the one who just caught his eye in his Islam fight, saying that even though it was a close competition, he was probably the first person to put up a fight against Islam. Mark also said that just after such a fierce battle, featherweight was going to be a piece of cake for Volk. The guy kept denying everything that Dagestani threw at him, and even managed to knock him down once. Plus, the way Alex demonstrated his ground and pound and defensive skills, all while being the underdog, is what Yair should be scared of, and I agree with him. The guy is a much bigger star today, and now that it's a champion versus champion fight again, Wagenheim gave Yair a ridiculous 9% chance of winning. Yikes! Again, if you look at how the champ handled Max Holloway 3 times, and how he took down Aldo, Wagenheim said that he would never dare give any featherweight a chance of knocking out Volkanovski. Not to undermine how Rodriguez played with Josh Emmett, but come on, taking down Emmett is nothing compared to what Volk did at UFC 284. Just straight up madness. Anyway, Brett talked about how the betting odds might open, and gave Alexander a 75% chance of being the favorite. Now look, I know people prefer fighters' predictions over analysts,
Giving my prediction and breakdown for every single fight on the card.
but when I tell you how accurate these guys are, things might shock you. Because just like Brett called it, Volk is currently a negative 410 favorite, while sitting at a plus 320, the Mexican is the underdog. Now, according to these odds, if you listen to the pros and put your money on Yair, you will make a 320 profit on $100. Sure, but considering how Volkanovski is recognized as one of the finest and most talented fighters of all time, I wouldn't take any chances. But again, Rodriguez's finishing makes him the only guy to pull off an upset. The guy is highly crafty and lethal, and he can use a variety of weapons to kill anyone, especially after his win against Emmett. You might want to add a triangle choke to his weapon list. Personally, just like Akimoto, I don't think it's going to be an easy fight, because this will definitely be somewhat of a dance, but I'm also pretty sure it's going to be a bloody one. So much so that even Alex's teammate sees Yair as dangerous as Tony Ferguson. See, because Rodriguez has consistently been forceful in his submissions, he simply doesn't give his opponent any opportunity to unwind on the ground. Volkanovski's team claims that Yair and Ferguson are quite similar, especially how they use strides to make up for the missing closed guards. But that's nothing, because wait until you hear how fans are backing the Mexican, as they believe he's here to take over. All because Rodriguez is in the winning momentum, while the champ is coming out of his first ever loss. So, all in all, it's not going to be easy for either of them, because the featherweight fanbase has a new golden boy. Sadly for Yair, he's not the champ yet. It puts the Mexican kind in the same position as Volk in his last fight, and the odds are even more brutal against him than they were for his opponent in his previous match. But they're not impossible enough to stop crowds from rushing to see him in action. While he's not the champ yet, he's certainly champ material, and that's enough to cause a huge deal of suspense. But it wouldn't be enough to just hold on to the belt for him. No, Volk has to take him down in a spectacular fashion. It'll mean the difference between winning and merely surviving, and that's where Henry Cejudo steps in, giving fans even more hope to put their money on the underdog. Triple C believes that Yair is going to be the toughest opponent Volk has faced yet, and he did add that Rodriguez has a big chance to take the title home, because his ranged leg kicks are what's going to be keeping the Aussie at bay, and if he's smart and tactical enough with his footwork, he may just get things done. But he also said that 5 rounds kind of play in Volk's favor because the guy has the gas tank of a submarine. Cejudo is firm that if Yair manages to play with that, it's cake for him. Plus, as a cherry on top, Triple C also said that the Mexican is the one fighter he'd not want to go up against, all because of the length he has in those kicks, which is what makes him so good at denying takedowns. And it's going to be a problem for Volkanovski if he doesn't have a good game plan. Gotta admit though, this might have changed my mind too, and I might just put my money on the underdog now, because all he needs to do is hold on to his threshold to win. So from Cejudo advising Volk to be smart with his plans, to Arnold Allen having Yair as his favorite, that was all for the pros predicting the outcome of Volkanovski versus Rodriguez at UFC 290.